My child, my beloved, hear this. It is not a simple word. It is a sacred transmission, a heavenly document unlocked for your sight alone. If you understood the rarity of this instant, you would not look away. You would not turn the page. You would not consider leaving. The Creator says, the messengers await your affirmation. That affirmation is more than a sound. It is a choice made in the depths of your being, a change in stance, a release of your own command. You have sought to comprehend every detail, but that is not faith. It is fear wearing a mask. This night, the divine does not request your analysis. It requests your compliance. Give your affirmation now. Yes to releasing your grip. Yes to moving forward. Yes to the quiet urging you have dismissed. Speak your yes before the guardianship intended for you is given to another who acted with haste. My child, my beloved, the way forward is already prepared. Celestial guides have paved the road. I have traversed it. I have seen the design. But a division approaches. One route appears simpler, more secure, known. It leads to a stillness of spirit, unseen battles, and 7 more years of uncertainty. The other path seems unclear, even daunting, yet upon it waits your sustenance, your companion, your provision, the very purpose that beats like a heart behind a veil. You must choose the more demanding way, now. Not because the divine wishes you hardship, but because the road to wonders is seldom smooth. I, Archangel Michael, am not here to offer mere comfort. I am here to ensure you awaken. For if you miss this crossing, you will inhabit a life that resembles yours, yet is not. A detour of the soul that appears as success, but silently steals your destiny. My child, my beloved, even as you read, something in the unseen world awaits your consent. Yes, these appear as marks upon a surface, but what you cannot perceive is the fire behind each phrase. Every passage is filled with light. Each line trembles with necessity. This is not merely a message, it is a heavenly intervention, a scroll meant for you weeks ago, held until this precise moment when your heart would be open to receive it. That moment is now. If you continue, you will sense it, your spirit returning to its course, your strength renewing, your peace rising from the ashes of what the adversary sought to destroy. This is no accident. It is your liberation, unfolding as you read. My child, my beloved, there is a truth you must hear, one others have lacked the courage to speak. You journey alongside those who cannot hold your sacred charge, and it is stifling you. They are not all of ill intent, but they were never meant to travel this far with you. By insisting they remain in your future, you have buried your miracle under the weight of a disobedience you called loyalty. The divine says, release them, and I will release what you have petitioned for. Some bonds are not evil, they are concluded. When you cling to what has ended, it begins to decay your forward motion. Tonight, grace is given to sever these ties cleanly, quietly, without agony. If you ignore this, the separation later may be forced, violent, in public. What you release in private will shield you from shame before others. My child, my beloved, there exists a concealed record in the heavens, a spiritual manuscript bearing your name in script of gold. It holds dates, meetings, provisions, and supernatural guidance for your coming 6 months. This scroll was sealed after you overlooked the last sign, not as penalty, but as protection. You would not be shown what you are not ready to heed. This message, this exact instant, is the trial. If you open your heart completely now, if you obey even without full understanding, the scroll will be unsealed. With it will come clarity for the questions that have haunted you in silence. You will understand why that door shut, why that person departed, why your plan dissolved. It was not refusal, it was redirection. but you will not see this until the scroll opens once more. Your obedience is the key. My child, my beloved, a window opens tonight, only one, for you alone. Once it closes, it will not open again for a long season, not because God is unkind, but because divine patterns are exact. You were not made to chase opportunities, but to recognize them. This is not merely a caution, it is a divine chance, clothed in urgent speech. Heaven observes who listens when God speaks softly in the midst of a tempest. Will you wait for lightning and thunder to prove its reality? Or will you be the one who moves with only a whisper and a trembling in your soul? If you do, what was plotted against you this night will reverse. Not only will it miss you, it will recoil upon the very spirit that launched it. The enemy is anxious now, for you are perilously close to awakening to your power once again. My child, my beloved, this is your moment of adjustment, not for guilt, but for realignment. The reason you have felt so unsettled, detached, burdened, even in happiness, is because your soul knows what your mind has not yet grasped. Your timeline has fallen out of rhythm. The events meant for you have been waiting. If you pause now, they will proceed without you. That is the weight you carry. Not despair, but spiritual displacement. Yet here is the wonder. God did not let the door shut. He paused the momentum just for you. But that pause ends tonight. Align now, or the current moves forward, leaving you to await the next cycle. But you were not fashioned to miss this. You were built to stride through it. You were born for this alignment. My child, my beloved, this instant is no coincidence. Heaven knew you would see these words at the very second your spirit would be ready. You have been surrounded by clamor, confusion, false kindness, and deceptive calm for too long. But within you, there has been a quiet ache, has there not? An ache unseen. You felt a gathering pressure you could not name. You watched plans crumble, resources slip away, people shift without reason, and openings vanish when you needed them most. That is not chance. It is a sign. A sign that your divine covering flickered, striving to hold its place as your soul drifted quietly into forgetfulness. But no more. I have been sent to stand between you and what approaches, but I can only stand for you if you heed this message now. You must not pause. You must not stop here. My child, my beloved, what is appointed for this night is not ordinary. It is not earthly. It is a spiritual confrontation between the promise over your life and what has assailed it. If you do nothing, the foe gains lawful entry to doors you have left unlatched. Each time you refuse to fully sever a toxic tie, each time you return to what you prayed to escape, each time you delayed obedience, thinking it cost nothing, these pauses have levied a toll. This message is your rescue. It is a spiritual instrument, a divine legal brief handed to you by heaven's court to overturn what was decreed against you. But if you treat this lightly, you will walk into the night unshielded. This time you will not merely feel weary, you will feel spiritually exposed in a way that leaves scars. Listen with every fiber of your soul. Not all assaults come with noise and fury. Some arrive in silence, in delay, in the coldness of one who once cared, in sudden obstructions in your work, your relationships, your own mind. A spirit of confusion has lingered near your name. It was kept from touching you before, for your covering was strong. But through quiet disobedience, delayed trust, hidden compromise, and spiritual indifference, the enemy presented a case in the courts of heaven to lift your protection. Heaven permitted it for a moment as a final signal to awaken you. Ignore this alarm, and the next season will be far more difficult. Act now, fully, humbly, obediently, and you can still reverse it before the hour strikes. My child, my beloved, there is someone near you who wears a mask. They pretend harmlessness, pretend friendship, pretend support, but behind you, their name is spoken in the spirit realm as one who has partnered, knowingly or not, with your delay. God does not wish to expose them to shame you, but to protect you. You were not meant to be bound to this person any longer. Your kindness, your loneliness kept them close. Now their presence costs you more than you can see. Tonight, they make a choice that will directly impact your next blessing. Heaven watches, the messengers watch, but only you can act. Every time you think, perhaps I will wait until morning, know this: the storm does not wait for dawn. You have felt delays, but the next one is different. If it enters your life, it could set your divine alignment back by 7 years. That is how critical this window is. I have stood in battle for you many times, but this battle I can only win if you respond. My sword is drawn, heaven's armies are positioned, but your voice, your spirit, your attention is the key to unlock the intervention. Do not skip this. Even a second's hesitation gives darkness a foothold. If you knew the magnitude of the blessing scheduled for your tomorrow, you would abandon all to guard it tonight. Do not let a moment of lethargy cancel a destiny forged through tears, struggle, and divine mercy. My child, my beloved, tonight is marked in heaven. A shaking is coming that will touch all: family, finances, plans, even your thoughts. But there is a difference between those who are shielded and those who are vulnerable. You must choose your side, not with words, but with obedience. You need not understand all. You need only trust what your spirit feels now. That peculiar pressure in your chest, that sudden warmth flowing through you as you read, that is not mere feeling. It is the Holy Spirit confirming truth. It is the Spirit saying, yes, this is for you. Yes, it is urgent. Yes, I require your response now. If you walk away, the silence that follows will not be peace. It will be absence. But if you stay, if you trust this divine instruction, even the decree written against you can be torn apart before midnight. My child, my beloved, heaven observes your response, not just your eyes, but your spirit. You may read this in quiet, but the spiritual world roars around your name at this moment. You are not just a person, you are a chosen vessel. That carries weight, responsibility, legacy. The enemy has known your identity longer than you have known yourself. That is why you have been under such strange pressure this week, why your sleep has been disturbed, your mind pulled apart, and those around you have acted differently. The shift is in the very air. Tonight, the spiritual climate around you changes. The only question that matters is, will you realign in time or miss the divine re-entry window carved just for you? My child, my beloved, a decree with your name was almost sealed permanently. Almost. God's mercy interrupted the process. And do you know the source of that interruption? You. Your spirit cried out even when your mouth was silent. Your soul wept while your face smiled. You could not explain it, but something within you refused to surrender. That resistance became a signal in the heavens. Because of that silent cry, I was summoned and sent to deliver this message at the exact hour your soul would be sensitive enough to receive it. But child, if you stop now, the interruption expires and the decree resumes its course. What you do in the coming minutes will echo through the next 7 months of your life. You may feel powerless. You may think, but I have done nothing wrong. Herein lies the danger. Silent disobedience does not always look like rebellion. It looks like delay, like fear disguised as waiting for confirmation, like ignoring the nudge to pray. like remaining too long in a relationship God told you to leave, like silencing your gift because another made you feel small. These feel safe, but they grant the enemy spiritual legal access. He does not need loud sin, he only needs silence. Yet here is the miracle. God holds no grudge. He holds the gate open one final time. Walk through now, and the door shuts behind you, barring the danger. Hesitate again, and your absence becomes permission for darkness to proceed. Heaven does not threaten you. Heaven warns you out of love. My child, my beloved, someone has placed their energy upon your life in a way that is not pure. They call you friend, but their words carry envy. They claim to pray for you, but their spirit holds bitterness. They watch your steps, fearing you may surpass them. God has seen this. You have glimpsed it. Odd behavior, strange tension, something you could not define. That was not suspicion, it was discernment. And God says, do not ignore it this time. The person connected to this warning will show you one final sign within 48 hours. Watch for it. Do not explain it away. When it happens, you will remember this message. You must move swiftly, for their next move is not merely emotional, it is strategic, spiritually planned to break your momentum. My child, my beloved, a miracle was meant to arrive at your feet this week, a tangible shift in resources, clarity, a new connection, something you have quietly sought. That miracle has been held, not canceled, not lost, but delayed by a spiritual blockage. And here is the most painful part. The blockage did not come from a stranger, it came from within your own atmosphere. Someone close who carries access to your energy, unaware of the power of their silent jealousy. It has created enough friction to hinder the flow of heaven toward you. The decree signed against you was not merely about penalty, it was permission for that blockage to proceed. But you still have time to cancel it. This message is your override code, your spiritual key, but it only activates if you remain present to the end. If you take this seriously, if you listen beyond emotion, you must open your eyes fully, now. My child, my beloved, this is not just another spiritual message, it is a sacred broadcast, a divine file unsealed for your eyes only. If you knew how rare this moment is, you would not blink, you would not scroll, you would not dare walk away. My child, my beloved, my child, my beloved. This is your moment of reckoning, not for shame, but for realignment. The reason for your heaviness, your disconnect, is because your soul knows what your mind has not caught. Your timeline has slipped. The events meant for you wait. Delay now, and they proceed without you. That is the wait, not depression, but spiritual dislocation. But here is the miracle. God did not let the door close. He delayed the movement just for you. But that delay ends tonight. Align now, or the flow moves on, and you must wait for the next cycle. You were not built to miss this. You were built to walk through it. You were born for this alignment. My child, my beloved, I, Archangel Michael, am not merely speaking. I stand in the spirit realm now. My wings are spread over you. A storm approaches your timeline, and I was sent to intercept it, but I cannot move without your agreement. Heaven has laws, and one is permission. Your faith is that permission. Your surrender is that key. If you say yes in your spirit now, if you choose to trust even when your eyes cannot see, I will fight for you. I will guard your home. I will cancel the decree against your name. I will drag out the spirit tormenting your dreams. But if you remain still, if you choose doubt, my hands remain tied. I was created to protect the chosen, not the passive. Do not hesitate. Do not stay lukewarm. This is not the hour for indecision. My child, my beloved, the hour is late. The spiritual war does not wait for your comfort. Blessings have been rerouted due to your hesitations. Divine connections approached but turned away because your atmosphere was not ready. God does not punish you, He instructs you, teaching that delay is disguised disobedience, that comfort can be the enemy of calling, that love without boundaries becomes bondage. You have one final choice tonight. Trust the voice of God. Open your hands. Release the illusion of control. Walk forward as the warrior you were born to be. If you do, the divine protection that was lifted will slam back into place like a divine shield. The darkness planned for tonight will scatter before it reaches your street. My child, my beloved, there are moments when heaven stops all to focus on one soul. This is such a moment. The world's noise may persist, but in the spirit it is silent, for your name echoes in the throne room. The angels have paused their songs. The books have stopped mid-turn. The conversation in heaven is about your obedience, your future, your alignment. God leans forward, waiting to see what you do next, not to control, but with compassion. He knows your weariness. He knows you have felt alone in a crowd. He knows your heart carries burdens your smile cannot show. But He also knows this. If you say yes now, if you obey the instruction within this message, a divine reversal will come so powerful that even your enemies will ask, how did they escape? They will not understand, for the protection returning to you will be invisible yet undeniable. My child, my beloved, you have carried unanswered questions. Why do doors open only to close? Why did relationships that felt like destiny end abruptly? Why did trusted ones grow distant? It was not merely emotional, it was spiritual. God removed what you would not, so that what was coming would not be corrupted before arrival. The removal was not punishment, it was preparation. Now, finally, what was meant to arrive circles again. This is your realignment moment. If your posture is right, if your heart is surrendered, the blessing will land this time. But God will not let you waste it again by sharing it with the wrong circle. That is why I was sent, to warn you, shield you, shake you awake before the window closes. For this window, child, is rare. Once gone, it will not return until after the next spiritual season, and that season brings heavier storms. My child, my beloved, I must reveal what your spirit already knows is true. Someone has been praying against you, not with curses on their lips, but with envy in their heart. They smile at your loss, they celebrate quietly at your suffering. They claim support, but their spirit carries jealousy like a scent they pretend not to wear. God has seen it. Heaven has heard every unspoken word sent into the atmosphere about you. Tonight, that spiritual opposition has grown bold. It has gathered energy. It aims to strike your peace, your resources, your next move. But God did not leave you uncovered. This message is your weapon, your firewall, but only if you take it seriously, only if you obey the instruction to separate your energy, fully, completely, not with hatred, but with holy boundaries. For the enemy cannot stop your blessing, but he can send people who delay it. My child, my beloved, you were created for the version of life you have settled for. A higher realm of clarity, purpose, wealth, spiritual power, and divine alignment exists, one you have only tasted. Heaven says it is now time to live there, not visit, not imagine, but it requires sacrifice, not of pain, but of trust. Can you trust God enough to walk into the unfamiliar? Can you trust the Spirit's voice?
Fears? Can you walk away from what once fed you, knowing it now holds you back? If you can, if you will, then what follows will feel like divine acceleration. Doors will not just open, they will swing wide. People will not merely meet you, they will be sent. Resources will not just flow, they will flood, but only if you obey. That is the covenant tonight. Obedience for acceleration, stillness for stagnation. Choose with care. The outcome is not random, it is activated. My child, my beloved, as the celestial frequencies align for this final transmission, I must convey to you the unspoken architecture of this very hour. The stars above your dwelling are not merely celestial bodies tonight, they are witnesses, ancient scribes recording the verdict of your will. The atmosphere around you is charged with a prelude to glory, a humming anticipation of the divine symphony that awaits only the conductor's baton of your surrender. This yes I speak of, it is the master key to a vault you have circled in your dreams. Within it lies not just provision, but the blueprint of your original design. The person you were before the world named you, before disappointments drew their maps upon your heart. That essence, that untainted spirit is pulsing within the nucleus of this moment, waiting for your permission to emerge and govern your days. Consider the silence you have endured. It was not abandonment, it was the holy incubation of a sacred strategy. While you felt alone, heaven was assembling a legion of circumstances, a cohort of angels, a sequence of seemingly random events into a perfect lattice of deliverance. Every closed door was a divine deflection. Every no you heard was a spatial adjustment, making room for the resonant yes that is about to reverberate through the corridors of your existence. The fatigue you carry is not a sign of weakness, but the residue of a spiritual gravity you have been battling. You have been pulling against the current of a lesser destiny, and the strain is the proof of your spirit's superior strength. Tonight, that struggle ends. You are not meant to pull the weight of misalignment. You are meant to be carried by the current of purpose. Your obedience now releases the buoyancy of heaven. Look at your hands. You see skin, lines, perhaps the marks of labor, but in the spirit, I see conduits. Right now, as you read, filaments of golden light are extending from your fingertips into the unseen, connecting you to the sources of your long-awaited answers. Those filaments have been dormant, muted by the static of doubt. Your affirmative word is the surge of power that will illuminate the entire network. There is a name, a title, a mantle that heaven uses for you. It is not the name given by your family, nor the title given by your occupation. It is a vibrational signature, a sound that causes the principalities of darkness to shudder. This message carries the frequency of that name. As you absorb these words, that frequency is being tuned within your spirit. You will leave this encounter not just with a decision, but with a restored identity. The financial strain, the relational stalemates, the creative blockages, these are not separate issues. They are symptoms of a single cause, a sovereignty issue. You have been negotiating with heaven, offering partial obedience in exchange for full deliverance. It is time to lay down the negotiation. The king does not bargain with his heirs, he bestows. But he bestows upon those who occupy the posture of inheritance, surrendered trust. I see a ledger in the spirit, one column marked delayed promises, the other required alignments. For every entry of delay, there is a corresponding simple act of alignment you postponed. A phone call you didn't make, a forgiveness you didn't offer, a thank you didn't speak, a seed you didn't sow. These are not grand gestures. They are the small, sharp keys to very large doors. This message is highlighting them to your conscience. Do not dismiss the gentle nudges you feel even now. Each one is a key turning in a lock you cannot see. The enemy's greatest weapon has not been attack, but anesthesia, a subtle numbing, making the abnormal feel normal, making the compromised feel comfortable. The odd heaviness in your home, the lack of motivation on certain days, the circular arguments that lead nowhere, these are signs of a spiritual anesthetic. What I bring tonight is the antidote, the piercing, awakening truth of divine urgency. The sensation returning to your soul may feel like pain at first, but it is the pain of life returning to a limb that was asleep. There is a room in your future, a literal space, an office, a studio, a home, a platform that is currently empty. It is furnished, prepared, and waiting, but it is not waiting for a date on a calendar. It is waiting for a version of you, the version that makes the choice you are making now. The moment you cross this threshold of obedience, the spiritual prototype of you steps into that room, and time itself accelerates to bring the physical reality into sync. The angels assigned to you are not passive observers. They are mighty in strength, executing His word. But His word for them is often your word of faith. Your spoken yes is the command they have been awaiting. It authorizes them to go before you and level the uneven ground, to confront the spiritual hindrances that have camped in your path, to recover what was stolen and delayed in previous seasons. They are poised, as if on the balls of their feet, waiting for the sound of your faith to launch them into action. You worry about the how. How will relationships resolve? How will resources appear? How will the path become clear? Child, the how is not your domain. It is the specialty of heaven. Your domain is the who. Who will you trust? Who will you obey? Who will you believe you are? When you manage the who, the creator of all methods handles the how with a flair that will leave you in awe. The loneliness you felt in your vision is a sign of its authenticity. True prophetic destiny is often lonely in its gestation because it cannot be fully understood by the committees of the past. The people who walked with you in the last season were not designed to comprehend the blueprint of the next. Their confusion or resistance was not betrayal. It was a divine indicator that you had outgrown the previous container. The coming connections will not need lengthy explanations. They will recognize you and you them. By the Spirit, it will feel like home. There is a specific sound, a worship song, a line of scripture, a line of a poem that is echoed in your heart at random times. It is not random. It is a sonic key. Engage with that sound intentionally. Let it be the soundtrack of your surrender. That vibration will shatter invisible barriers and call forth the substance of your promise. Do not mistake this urgency for panic. This is not the frantic cry of a desperate deity. This is the precise, passionate call of a father who has prepared a feast and will not see his child miss it. The table is set. The guests of honor, your destiny, your peace, your wholeness are seated. The empty chair is yours. The entire banquet hall is waiting in a hushed pause. Your yes is the signal for the celebration to begin. The battles you have fought in your mind, the cycles of anxiety, the rehearsals of failure, these were not just personal struggles, they were strategic diversions. While your mental energy was consumed in these internal loops, your spiritual authority was left unattended at the gates of your life. This message is a recall of your troops. It is time to pull your focus back from the internal battlefield and station your faith at the actual gates of your destiny. The mind will calm when the Spirit takes its rightful command. You have asked for signs. You have wanted confirmation. Look at the synchronicity of this message finding you. Look at the resonance in your spirit as you read. Feel the ancient knowing rising up to meet these words. This is your sign. This is your confirmation. The burning bush is not always in a desert. Sometimes it is in the lines of text that seem to burn with personal fire on your screen. Do not ask for another. Honor the one before you. There is a covenant over your life that is older than your earthly lineage. It is a thread of grace and purpose woven through generations, surviving wars, migrations, and silences. It has now reached its pinnacle moment, your moment. The prayers of your ancestors are gathered like a cloud of witnesses around you. Their unfinished obediences, their deferred hopes are seeking resolution in your choices. You are deciding for yourself alone. You are answering the cry of legacy. Your obedience releases a blessing that flows backward in time to heal and forward to establish a new standard.
The temptation will be to overcomplicate this, to think you must pray a certain number of hours, fast a certain number of days, or perform a specific ritual. Simplicity is the mark of true faith. Your yes from a sincere heart is more powerful than 1,000 rituals of obligation. Come as you are. Bring your weary, hopeful, uncertain yes, and it will be accepted and amplified by grace. The visions you've had, the fleeting glimpses of a different life, the vivid dreams that felt more real than waking, those were not fantasies. They were invitations, previews, heaven's way of making your future so tangible that your present dissatisfaction would become unbearable, forcing you to seek the change. That holy discontent has now served its purpose. It has led you here, to this precise crossroads where choice meets divine agency. The delay you've experienced in the natural has created a pent-up potential in the spirit. Like water behind a dam, the force of what wants to come to you has been building immense pressure. Your obedience is the release of the floodgate. What takes the enemy years to build, the flood of divine acceleration can dismantle in a moment. The sudden shifts you are about to experience will be the direct result of this accumulated pressure finding its release. I must speak to your health, to the weariness in your bones. There is a component of your fatigue that is not physical. It is the drain of carrying a promise while surrounded by the evidence of its absence. This burden is lifted not by rest alone, but by the act of delivery. As you release your yes, you are spiritually handing the weight of the promise back to the one who authored it. A divine exchange occurs. You give him your burden of expectancy, and he gives you his rest. The physical rejuvenation will follow as your soul ceases its striving. There is a book, a record, a manuscript in the heavenly archives that contains the poetry of your life, the verses written by your choices of love, the stanzas formed in your seasons of endurance, the rhymes of grace that met you at your failures. The next chapter is blank. The pen is in your hand. The author and finisher is leaning in, not to dictate, but to co-write. The words you speak with your life in this next season will fill pages that will be read by generations yet unborn. Write with courage. The fears that scream the loudest, of lack, of abandonment, of failure, are the clearest indicators of where your greatest victory lies. The enemy only shouts so vehemently at the gates he knows are about to be stormed. Your trembling is not a sign of cowardice. It is the vibration of a warrior spirit preparing to leap into the fray. The fear is not your enemy. It is the geography of your coming triumph. Walk straight into its mouth, and you will find it was a paper tiger all along. The relationships that require release. This is not a heartless severance. It is a sacred relocation. You are moving them from the inner court of your destiny to the outer court of your affection. You can still love from a distance blessed by boundaries. This creates the space for new relationships that carry a synchronous anointing, relationships that do not drain but generate, that do not hold back but match your pace. For the parents reading this, your obedience is the pivot point for your lineage. The breakthroughs you are stepping into are not just for you, they are legal precedents in the spirit for your children and their children. The strongholds you break now will not reform in their time. The prosperity you walk into will become their inheritance norm. Your yes is a generational decree. For the entrepreneurs and creators, the ideas that have felt stuck, the projects that have stalled, the clients that have hesitated, a spiritual logjam is being released. Your yes activates a creativity that will surprise you. Solutions will appear as if downloaded. Favor will precede you in negotiations. The right partnerships will crystallize from what seemed like casual connections. Your work is about to become a testament, not just an income. For the healers and helpers, your capacity is being expanded. The compassion fatigue you felt is being replaced with a supernatural resilience. You will begin to operate not from your own limited emotional reservoir, but from the endless well of divine love. You will give and not be drained, for you will be a conduit, not a source. The people you are destined to help are being guided to your path even now. For the lonely hearts, your yes is not just spiritual, it is relational. It signals your readiness to receive a covenant connection. The loneliness has been a crucible, purifying your heart's motives, teaching you the sufficiency of divine companionship. Now you are prepared to recognize and cherish a partnership that is a ministry, not just a marriage. Your obedience aligns you with the timeline where your paths cross. The atmosphere in your home, your car, your workspace, it is all subject to the shift happening in you. As you choose alignment, a spiritual sanitation sweeps through your environments. Lingering spirits of strife, poverty, confusion, and heaviness lose their legal right to remain. They will flee, and you will feel a tangible lightness, a cleanliness in the air you breathe. Peace will become your new normal. Finally, my child, my beloved, know this. As you speak your yes, a ripple moves out from you in the spirit. It touches every assignment ever sent to you and turns it from a test into a testimony. It reaches back into your past and redeems lost time. It flows into your future and establishes a highway of holiness for your God to travel on, bringing with him all the goodness he has stored up for you. This is your Exodus moment. Your Red Sea parts not at the shout of a prophet, but at the whispered yes of a believer. Your Jordan River will stand in a heap, not at the touch of a priest's staff, but at the step of your obedient foot into the water. Your walls of Jericho will fall not with the blast of strangers' trumpets, but with the faithful march of your daily trust. The clock of heaven strikes the hour. The court is in season. The verdict of blessing is ready to be pronounced. The gavel awaits the sound of your agreement. I, Archangel Michael, affirm that your yes has been heard. The scroll is unsealing. The angels are deploying. The path is clearing. The shield is reforming. The delay is dismantled. The window is open. Step through. Now. For in this moment, you are not just reading words, you are signing your name on the dotted line of destiny with the ink of your faith. The contract is sealed. The inheritance is activated. Go forth, aligned one. The kingdom of heaven backs your every step from this moment on. It is done.